Hello and welcome to the WOW, Connecting and Empowering Women Through Sports, brought to you by our partners, Fresh Fine Wine. I'm Jade Kenny, and joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Stephanie Jokian and Janine Samuels. Hello, ladies.
Hey there.
Coming up in segment 2, we are chatting with Lieutenant General Jody Daniels in honor of this Sunday's game against the Giants being our salute to service. She has more than 36 years of active and reserve military service and recently assumed the role of Chief of Army Reserve and Commanding General for the U.S. Army Reserve Command. In her civilian career, Daniels was the Director of Advanced Programs for Lockheed Martin's Advanced Technology Laboratories. She is an all-around WOW woman and a true American hero and role model. Stick around for that. That's coming up. But first, let's chat about this game that's coming up. We are coming off a bye week and heading into a big rematch against the New York Giants. Quick refresher in case you missed it. We lost 20-19 after Riverboat Ron went for 2 on the gamble, did not play out. It's a big divisional rematch, and let's not forget the NFC East is still up for grabs. After watching Monday Night Football, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous. I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk anymore. The Giants overall looks pretty good. What do you guys think?
Well, we're rested. Hey, bye week, I'll give us that right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. So we are rested. So I think that that's to our advantage. The Giants, they did look pretty good, right? But they lost at the end of the day. And ironically, they lost because they couldn't get the 2-point conversion to tie the game. Meanwhile, when we played them last, we couldn't get the 2-point conversion to get the win. So I just thought that that was kind of interesting last night. I was watching the game. But I think overall, we just have to get after Daniel Jones. Like, we have one of the best front four on our defense in the NFL. And the Giants have pretty much a bottom tier offensive line. So we've got to use this matchup to our advantage. We've got to put pressure on Daniels and force some turnovers. And then we obviously have to convert on those turnovers. So I think it's very doable for us.
I think it's doable. And also, yes, Daniel Jones, I mean, he can throw some dimes. Let's not take that away from him or discredit him, but he's a turnover machine. Jones has 21 receptions in the first 21 starts as well. I'm going to say it. I feel like we have another Kendall Fuller pick coming this weekend.
Absolutely. And I just, Coach Rivera talked about the aha moments that happened at our last game, that things are clicking and the players are finally like, oh yeah, that's what you wanted us to do. And so I just want more of those moments, more awesome Logan Thomas moments. I think he is just growing and growing here with us. And then obviously Terry McLaurin, we got to get him that ball because good things usually happen when he gets the ball.
Yeah, and Gibson too, right? So I just feel like, putting him in the passing game, line him up out wide, match him up one-on-one with the linebacker. Gibson will win that matchup more times than not. So I think there's a lot of opportunities coming up, and I'm looking for the W. We need to get that W because I know we all debated the last time when we were talking about Giants on whether or not they should have gone for the extra point and what they should have done. And I think at the end of the day, we were disappointed for that loss, but now we have the chance to get the win, and we just need to do it.
Yeah, we controlled the ball that whole second half. We just control the ball again, get off quick, and we've got this.
Yeah, and it's time. I mean, Jones is 3-0 against us. Like, he thinks he's got it pretty much in the bag. And I think we showed, especially with, Chase Young, like, we have the pressure. We need Cole Holcomb to step up. Like, we need to add that pressure because he is quick to extend plays. He wants to be the playmaker. And that's why we see a lot of those picks, because he's trying to be that guy. And unfortunately, he might not be, and he can't be this weekend. So we really need our defense to step up and create that pressure and make sure that we get our win against the Giants and take the division this year, because it's up for grabs. It's anybody's game. There's a lot of fresh teams out there, and we're seeing it. And like you said, Ron Rivera's teams are notorious for being a second half of the season team. And like you said, it's all should be clicking. And I'm excited to watch this matchup.
Yep. And we're going to have some fans. Yay!
I'll be there. The first ladies will be there. Maybe we'll bring good luck.
Yay!
Yeah. And that could be to our advantage too. The players might be feeling the adrenaline with having, I think it's over 3,000 fans there. So just having that atmosphere at FedEx Field, I definitely think is going to help us. And the weather is supposed to be beautiful. Yeah. So it's just going to be a beautiful football Sunday at FedEx Field. All right. Hopefully we're going to be having a victory show coming up next week and great things to talk about. And speaking of things to talk about, we would love to hear from you. So make sure you're following us on social media and head to our YouTube channel to make sure that you are getting engaged in the conversation. Drop comments, send us DMs. Let us know what you want to hear, what you want to talk about. We would love to hear from you here in the WOW. And also on every show, we try to have a WOW member ask a player a question, and you can have your question answered right here on the WOW. So submit your questions to WOW Washington on social media to be a part of the conversation.
Has your business been affected by COVID-19? Have you considered reducing or moving your office space? Then it's time to call Victory Van. We provide the best service and price with flexible options for your company's moving and storage needs. Visit victoryvan.com to get your free moving and storage quote today. For corporate storage and moving, it's always the right move to choose Victory Van. That's victoryvan.com, Victory Van Corporation, delivering excellence for 75 years and proud partner of the Washington football team.
Finch Services Incorporated, recognized in its industry as a world-class organization, is the exclusive supplier of John Deere golf and sports turf maintenance equipment for the Mid-Atlantic region. In business since 1945, Finch helps golf course and sports turf managers maintain some of the most exclusive playing surfaces in the region. Experience the Finch advantage for yourself. Contact one of our golf and sports turf sales specialists to see how we can help you maintain your field of dreams. Go to finchturf.com for more information.
At RTS, game day strategy doesn't stop when the whistle blows. RTS delivers smarter, more responsible waste and recycling services. As an official partner of the Washington football team, RTS is connecting the team and FedEx Field with sustainable solutions to care for the community and the environment. RTS, a better waste company. Find out more at rts.com.
Welcome to the WOW Spotlight. Today we have joining us Lieutenant General Jody Daniels. She has more than 36 years of active and reserve military service and recently assumed the role of Chief of Army Reserve and Commanding General for the U.S. Army Reserve Command. She completed a civil affairs deployment to Kosovo, as well as a deployment to Iraq, where she served as the Chief of Plans and Integration, and then as a Director of Intelligence for the Multinational Security Transition Command Iraq. In her civilian career, Daniels was the Director of Advanced Programs for Lockheed Martin's Advanced Technology Laboratories. Wow. You are very, very impressive, and we are so honored to have you here on the WOW. Welcome.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, and what's crazy about this is that's the very condensed version of your bio. There was so much.
Awesome. You were in the midst of an impressive civilian career at Lockheed Martin. I want to know what called you away into full-time military service rather than the reserves?
So, in fact, I had done 7.5 years on active duty. Then I converted from the active component into the Army Reserve when I decided to go off to graduate school. And I did that for a number of years. And then I joined Lockheed Martin while continuing my reserve career. And then when I made general officer, I had an opportunity to go on a full-time position while still in the Army Reserve. So I went off and did that. And so I did some quick math. And I have I've served in 4 countries, 10 states, with over 20 different assignments, primarily in intelligence, but also in civil affairs and in training.
Wow. I don't even feel worthy to even interview you at all.
But I'm also, but I also do take time out for family and for football. So my personal preference is, in fact, for the Washington football team.
Yeah.
I was going to ask. That was one of my questions.
Yeah, so that's not an Army Reserve position, but it's certainly mine. And it's also not my husband's position, who's a Giants fan. So we are a house divided.
So
Well,
this
perfect
Sunday, watch
show
out.
for you to be on. Yeah, with the game coming up this weekend. Wow.
Those are always fun. We actually have a nice wreath that we hang on our door. We got from my stepdaughter, and half of it has the Washington colors and half of it has the Giants, New York Giants colors, and it flips. So it's a lot of fun to put up.
That's awesome. Well, obviously we're hoping for a win for the Washington football team this
Absolutely.
weekend, because they got us by a point last time, and that hurt so hard.
It hurt a lot.
It did. So talk about, you received the Combat Action Badge. So one, can you talk about and share what that is for those that don't know, and in what deployment was that? And then can you just tell us how that impacted you personally?
So that was from my about 11 months over in Iraq. I went over and was serving as part of a survey team to look at what forces did we, the Army, need to take over to support the training mission that we were doing for training the Iraqi Army and the Iraqi soldiers. And so I went over with a group, something about me and 15, me and 12 dudes go to a foreign country. I did the same thing when I went over to Kosovo in 99. And we did a survey of what was needed to support that training mission. And it was a tremendous experience in helping the Iraqis stand up their professional education system, their different specialty courses for whether or not it was, the military, their military police or intelligence or logistics or all the other different branches that they were putting together. And so it was during that time that I did, in fact, receive the award.
That is really impressive. I was in Kosovo on a tour when I was in the NBA, so in 2000. So I wonder if we crossed paths. How long were you there?
No, I was probably only there. I was there in the summer of 99 from July to September.
Awesome. So another question for you, being the first woman who serves as the 34th Chief of Army Reserve and the 9th Commanding General for U.S. Army Reserve. These are recent positions since 2020. Are you able to sit back at all and recognize the importance of this position as a pioneer for other women?
It's really important that I look at it from a variety of perspectives. So I learned when I was over as the principal intelligence officer for the Africa Command that not only was I representing the intelligence field, I was representing the Army Reserve, I was representing the Army, I was representing senior leaders, I was representing women. I had a whole bunch of different roles that I took on. And so it's kind of interesting to sort of realize that you're not just you and you're not just, whatever rank, you're all these other positions that you're representing. And that is a little bit heady. And so being, head of the Army Reserve, which is about 200,000 soldiers and civilians spread across 20 time zones, is kind of like, oh my, that's kind of big and it's important. But I've done a lot of jobs leading up to this that positioned me well and gave me different experiences and exposures along the way. So this was, while there's a learning curve, it's not outrageous. So I've been sort of preparing up and to this time. So but it's great.
Let me follow up with that then. You said you were positioned for this by your previous careers. Was there a mentor that helped you that you can think of off the top of your head?
I've had a number of fabulous mentors. One of which is retired Major General Leslie Purser. She was a boss and she helped me out when I was a colonel, taking care of that I was looking in the right direction and doing the correct sorts of things and was always there as an outlet. I also had my very first boss was at the time was a major. His name was Russ Frew. And he did a smart thing, was saying, well, you should go to graduate school and you should go do these other things that I had never thought of. And so he was opening to my eyes into what I could do, as well as giving me confidence in what I was doing.
Well, I love that. And confidence in what you were. Yes, that's amazing.
And following up on that, do you feel like what you say or the actions you take are judged differently because you are a female in this position? And also, does it give you the edge sometimes to have that female touch as a leader?
So over the years, as you progress in rank, you learn that your words are taken very carefully and literally, and sometimes people overreact in what they thought they heard you say. And so you have to, over time, I've become very careful about things that I say so that I don't send people scurrying off to do additional work that I didn't really intend. So, oh, that's kind of interesting. Oh, well, we're going to go. And I'm like, no, it's just interesting. So I have to be careful about that and making sure that I'm not inadvertently sending people off and tasking them. But at the same time, I also have to be careful in a room full of primarily men in terms of when do I speak and what do I say to make sure that my words are impactful and aren't sort of left aside. And that's something that in both of my careers, I've had to be careful about.
Yeah, and touching on that a little bit, when you know the power of your words and you know the power of your actions and how that can be taken by an observer or a listener, what would you say just over the course of your career are 3 tips or 3 lessons that you've absorbed and that you've taken in from your experience, either with someone, your mentor, or just the experiences being out in the field?
So one thing that I encourage people to do is sort of to look 2 positions ahead. not just one. People tend to look sort of at the first one, but if you look a little bit further out, you think about what are the, or get someone to help you think about what are those different options? What could I do? And then think closer in of what do I need to do to be able to get there? Because we tend to sort of focus in on, well, what's next? Well, no, really look a little bit further, set your sights a little bit further out. Another tip that I give is delegate as much as possible. And to that effect, step away from email. It's too easy to get sucked into it and to be, driven by it. And so when I go on vacation, my cell phone, it goes into the safe. It goes into, someplace, it gets turned off, and I go off and have fun. My subordinates are positioned to run the world without me. That's why we have them. I trust them, and I'm demonstrating that trust by stepping away from the cell phone and letting them take charge. So I hope I hit 3. I hope within that collection of things.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because when you said delegate, all 3 of us were like, oh my gosh, because that's something that all 3 of us need to work on. Like we hold responsibility really tight and close. One, because I think it's ours, it's our baby. We feel like we can do it best. And we just have trouble sometimes allowing people to help us or even asking people to help us. So how do you kind of break through that mindset of, having to be the strong woman that can do all things and not need the help, and just realizing that it's okay to receive help?
I think it's empowering to be able to ask for help, to show the strength of courage that I'm not perfect. I don't know everything. I can't possibly know everything. I need some assistance. I don't have to be the smartest person in the room, but I got to have the smart people with me, and who are those people that I can leverage, that I can take advantage of their skills, their strengths. So I think it's empowering to be able to delegate. And I was recently told, do those things that only you can do. And then that frees up the rest of the time for the other things that you want to be able to do, instead of those things that you're thinking that you must do.
Does that go with the email? That I know you said like you step away from it when you're on vacation, but do you step away from your emails to do what you're saying so you can focus on bigger pictures or things that you want to do well?
I also sort of limit time on email.
Okay.
So with the military, we have a battle rhythm. So how much time, when you do certain things on a regular basis. So I allocate certain blocks of time to reading email, and I go in and I triage and I delete like nobody's business. What can I get rid of? What can I send onward? And sort of, you can always sit there and wait for the next message to come in. It's too easy. But to limit how much time and focus and attention it's allowed to have. Tough, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, that's great advice.
You need to write down all these tips.
Yeah,
Whatever rhythm, I like that.
I know. I'm like, can I get my notebook? As we enter into the game this weekend, as we brought up with the Giants, it is our Salute to Service game, and we are celebrating Salute to Service the entire month with watching the football team. What would you like to say to the NFL fans as well as civilians as we recognize military service this month?
So the reserve side, not only the soldiers and the civilians, the family members, but also our employers who allow us to go off and serve and recognize that we are having dual careers. So, thank you, to all of those groups for all that you do and all the sacrifices you make and the service that you have given to our nation. So thank you very much.
Dual careers. And then how about as a woman, then what? Or anybody, dual careers with the reserves, your career, and then family too. Talk about 3 major things in your life. Holy cow.
So yes, a bit of a collection of things that's, we try to work on balance. And it's not, I wouldn't necessarily, it's certainly not equity, but it's trying to, like I said, step away from the email, and to go off and do those fun things that your family enjoys. It's tough, I think it has helped me in terms of being able to keep my sanity. And so I go out and I do workouts, I run, I lift weights. I do all kinds of other interesting, different exercises. I like to flip tires. I do, it's crazy. But I think that helps with my endurance and my ability to do all the things that I want to do.
Yeah, well, you probably have to flip tires because you live with a Giants fan. You got to get that aggression out.
I was going to ask how are you planning to watch the game this Sunday with your husband? Any game day traditions?
So he has a Giants gnome that I try to like turn upside down or hide or something, so that it's not visible. But no, we sort of keep, we keep to our separate corners, and as long as it's a good game, we're both happy. One of us is a little more than the other, but as long as it's a well officiated game, we both enjoy it.
That's good. That's good to know. I'm sure coming off Monday Night Football, he feels a little bit better and probably a little frustrated about his Giants, but we look forward to the matchup this Sunday.
Yes.
Well,
For the
thank you.
Washington win.
Yes. And well, thank you so much for joining the Wow. And more importantly, thank you so much for your service. It has been an honor to have you on the show today.
Well, thank you so much for the invite, and congratulations to your group for all the outreach that you do. I appreciate the time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A new decade demands a new kind of wine. As consumers continue to embrace healthier lifestyles with beverages that taste great and keep in line with their dietary preferences, and wine is no exception. Fresh Vine Wine thoughtfully crafts great tasting premium wines that are low calorie, low carb, low sugar, keto, vegan friendly, and gluten free. Fresh Vine Wines pairs perfectly with your active lifestyle without sacrificing on taste. Available in select stores in DC and Maryland. Find adventure in an all-wheel drive Honda SUV now on clearance, like the turbocharged all-wheel drive CRV, the versatile all-wheel drive HRV, or the adventure-ready Passport and Pilot, both equipped with 3 different driving modes. Take back the driver's seat and find adventure with a rugged Honda SUV on clearance. When it comes to the best value, Honda leaves the others in the dust. See your local Honda dealer and start your adventure today.
Stay connected with the Washington football team. Follow at Washington NFL on Instagram and Twitter for team news, updates, and exclusive Washington football team content.
Couchgating is the new tailgating presented by DC Lottery. Enter to win a chance at a Washington football team DC Lottery fan pack. Celebrate your couchgating by sharing a photo using the hashtag CouchgatingDCL. To have your couchgating photo featured on the Couchgating Wall of Fame, please post your photos on social media using the tags Washington NFL, DC Lottery, and the hashtag CouchgatingDCL for consideration. Please note that not all photos will be accommodated on the Couchgating Wall of Fame, and all couchgating photos are posted at the sole discretion of the Washington football team.
We are heading into Wow Overtime, brought to you by Fresh Vine Wines. What an incredible interview we just had. She is all around such an impressive person and mentor. I know me and Janine and Stephanie were joking. We were writing down notes, especially right before we said goodbye to her. We were like, wait, what was that thing you said about, emails and taking time for yourself? And it's just, I know for me, especially, like, I love reading books about tools of success and about habits of successful people and leaders. And it's really inspiring to hear different tactics that people do. And I just want to applaud the Washington football team, as well as I'm going to just brag about us, the First Ladies of Football, for all that we do to engage with the military service. And I know I have been on 6 military tours overseas and seeing it firsthand. Seeing firsthand what the men and women of this country are doing to protect us. It's humbling experience. It's a life-changing experience. It's something that I'm forever grateful for the Washington football program for allowing me to be a part of. And I just think we should use this opportunity to brag about just all the work that we are doing to make that to that engagement.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, when I was a first lady, that, after the first game, I tell this story, like after my very first game coming out of the tunnel, like if anyone would have asked me then, my most memorable experience was coming out of the tunnel for the first time as a first lady of football. But once I went on my first tour overseas, that became the most memorable and meaningful experience for me. Being able to go to Kosovo, Afghanistan, Bosnia, and just being able to connect with the men and women that serve our country in a very deep way, and knowing that they appreciate us so much. Meanwhile, we're the ones that appreciate them. And I think it's so important what the Washington football team is doing, even what Washington Salute does on a regular basis to make sure that our men and women know that we care and that we support them and that we are here for them. And just being able to have that experience to go overseas, I mean, even just, Walter Reed and do community service within this area, within the military, has literally been a life-changing experience for me personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been on tours like you guys are talking about with the First Ladies, and I remember actually going into Kosovo, Bosnia, right when the war ended, and seeing, the Olympic symbols all shot up, and the runway with the plane crashed on it, and just, visiting the men and women that were serving at that time. It was so difficult for them, and they had lost some people, and just, working from 6 a.m. till midnight to make sure that we said hello to every single person, trying to, bring a touch of home to them. So every tour means so much. And as you mentioned, Janine, our Washington Salute, it's the NFL's largest military fan club. So the Washington football team, from the First Ladies to Salute to our players, we're committed to honoring our troops and empowering military organizations. For this month, if you go to WashingtonFootball.com, the Salute page, you'll see all the different events that are being held for Salute to Service. And I know, Janine, you could probably touch on a few of them that you've been involved in.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much coming up. I definitely want to plug Connecting Generations. So be on the lookout for that interview. I had the honor and the privilege to interview Brigadier General Charles McGee. He is a retired American fighter pilot who was a member of the Tuskegee Airmen. It was absolutely amazing conversation. He is a career officer, in the United States Air Force with more than 30 years. And he, I think, flew in 3 wars and had 409 combat missions. And so that conversation with him, along with Doug Williams and Jason Wright, was just amazing, because we literally were connecting 3 generations, but then allowing and enabling other people outside of these 3 generations to connect with them as well. And so it was just, I shared with you all that after that conversation, when we ended the interview, I literally was so emotional that I started to cry, because just knowing what General McGee went through as a Tuskegee Airman, and the sacrifices that he made for us, and the sacrifices that all men and women make for us day in and day out, not even thinking about it. It's just because what they were called to do. It was just so amazing to know that I was a part of that conversation. So definitely be on the lookout for that one. And then we will be, doing a virtual event at Walter Reed. There's just so much coming up. So just really appreciate Alec for everything that he's doing with Washington Salute and putting all of these amazing events together that really touch the lives of everyone.
And before we go, I want to leave with something that's leave everyone with something that stuck with me from Lieutenant Daniels, is her comment about yes, she might be the only woman in the room, but making sure that what she's saying is impactful and being thoughtful about what she's saying and the impression that she is making because of the role that she makes, or the role that she has taken on. I think that's something that I took away from this interview, and something that I want to be more thoughtful about moving forward as we are women in leadership roles in this world and in this role. Well, thank you all for an amazing show, and can't wait to see the Giants game and our Salute to Service game and all the great things the Washington football team is doing all month long to honor our military men and women. That'll do it for us. Make sure you check out Wow Washington on social media, as well as YouTube, like we mentioned, to stay up to date with everything that we have going on. Thank you to our partner, Fresh Fine Wine. Till next time. See ya.
Bye.
Go Washington.
Go team.
For more than 100 years, Chesapeake Employers Insurance has been helping Maryland businesses keep their workers safe. With competitive pricing and an AM Best A- financial strength rating, it's no surprise that Chesapeake Employers is Maryland's largest writer of workers' comp insurance.
At the end of every workday, someone's waiting for your safe return.
Connect with your agent or visit CEIWC.com.
Locally owned Novec is energizing the community in powerful ways. From sponsoring meals for first responders and medical professionals to donating generously to area food banks, Novec knows we're in this together. Novec and customers are funding crisis energy assistance by having their bills rounded up each month. Novec and employees are supporting local charities through Novec Helps. That's the power of working together. That's Novec.
And now, Time for another Honda clearance highlight. Jed was in mid-season form when his car went into early retirement. Looking to upgrade his roster to all-wheel drive, Jed went down to his local Honda dealer and scouted the CRV, Pilot, Passport, and more. In the end, Jed saved his season by getting an HRV with collapsible magic seats on clearance. Savvy stuff, Jed. Very savvy stuff.
Save your season with a clearance deal on an all-wheel drive Honda. See your local Honda dealer today.